And now we're recording?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Oh, shoot. I was going to play music, too. I was going to give us an intro.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
I know, right? I was gonna write something or play something on guitar. Joey, you and I should write a theme for this.
I don't know what that would sound like.
I don't know either. Like a theme song? All right. Well,
maybe we can think about it. Yeah.
We should think about it in something, and I'll lead in with it, right? So pretend that we have like the theme song going, and then 5, 4, 1. Hey everybody, welcome to the Metapod, a Pokemon Go PvP podcast, where all we do is harden your PvP skills. Am I right, guys? Welcome. I'm your host, DangerGrey, along with my co-hosts here, a couple of ace trainers in the Season 1 PvP tournament series. We've got Ramberto 777 here. Is that enough sevens, Berto? Did I get that right?
I think so. I can't remember now.
Presently, the 29th ranked in the world?
30 now, I think.
Oh, geez. Sliding down.
Yeah, I know.
All right, and joining us is Joeybrahhh with how many? Three H's, right? Brah.
Three H's, yeah. Specifically 3.
And presently, you were third in the world for most of the last month, I think. Where are you now?
Yeah, I am 6, maybe 5 at the end of it. I don't know. 6 right now, though. Yeah.
And well, I guess we should have done this last week when you guys mattered, but
I know. If you're not in the top 5.
Anyway, I think they know what they're doing, and that you guys can decide for yourselves. But we're here to talk about Pokemon Go PvP, something we're all very passionate about. And over the next month or so, as the season 1 just ended, we wanted to talk about just all things PvP, right? We want to go over some ways that people can get better at playing and maybe get people caught up so that they feel comfortable coming into tournaments for season 2. And that can be anyone who hasn't played before, or it can be people that all of the people we play against week in and week out that are the best of the best. We want something for everybody here. So and that said, we definitely are encouraging as many comments and critiques, and tell us all the different ways we suck, and we'll make it better every time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got. Well, what do you guys want to start? You want to start with season 1 just ended, right? So we've got this
yesterday.
Yep, just yesterday, and we've got a little bit of info out here from Silph about what to expect for season 2. We know that it starts on October 1st, and what are you guys looking forward to the most about next season? So just right off the bat.
I know I'm looking forward to hopefully getting a better start, because first 2 tournaments I went 3-2, and then after that, the next 2 I went 4-1. So I hope I can get a little bit of a better start.
Hey, I feel you on that. I'm just looking forward to starting with everybody. I personally didn't get into it until about May, and so I was definitely jelly of you guys that started off when the game began and were able to go to regionals and all that good fun. So yeah. I'm also looking forward to that, Berto. And also, I mean, of course, I'm sure we all except for Joey. Joey started off winning, but other than Joey, most people started off having to work their way up for some. I think I was 2-4 at that first Nightmare tournament that I went to with you out in Ventura, which today is the best tournament I've ever been to. It was outside in a marina. It was like 40 players in a beautiful sunny afternoon in Southern California with boats everywhere, and it was just so classy. And nothing has met up to that level of what I encountered my very first time out.
Yeah, that was a good tournament.
Yeah, it was good because you won. But you tend to win. In fact, you won what? I think several of the you won like 3 months in a row out there until just yesterday, right? Yesterday you had an issue winning the final one of the season.
Yeah. Well, of course, my weighted as well. I went 4-2 this month. First time in a long time that I've done that.
Had losses, you mean?
Yeah. From Nightmare to Jungle, I hadn't lost in my weighted tournament.
Oh, wow.
That's a streak.
Yeah, that's quite a streak. And Joe, you actually have a pretty high winning percentage yourself, don't you?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think I ended with a 90%.
Wow.
Which is I'm pretty happy about. I didn't want to drop below the 90 for season 1, so I was really hoping I didn't choke yesterday.
And you didn't?
Yeah.
I thought I did. I think it's the 3rd highest win rates that I've seen.
Yeah. I know Mars has a better one. Mars is crazy. Mars Mango. If I ever meet him, that's a legend.
I saw somebody. I have to find his username. He has a 100% win rate, and he's done like 40-something tournaments. Not tournaments, matches.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe he only goes into tournaments where he thinks he's going to be able to sweep, and then he uses that name. Because some people are maybe playing with a couple different screen names. There's not really a way to police that, but
yeah, I don't know. I will say, back on the topic of season 2, something
Please.
I'm looking forward to is the I don't know how you guys feel about it, but the Ultra and Master League, counting for at least like a 1 times, not a 10 times, right?
I am looking forward to that. I want to know. So it's have they said specifically it'll count like it's
It'll be
ranked?
1 times.
It's
It'll
a
be
1
1
time.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's like an unranked, themed
Okay.
cup. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for that. It'd be nice to actually use it for once.
Yeah,
I'm stoked on those for the reason that I went really hard when the game very first came out, right? So I was one of the earlier people to finish the Pokédex here in North America anyway, back in 2016, and put a lot of time into the game back then. And so I have a lot of Pokemon with legacy moves, which are always fun to use, but a good probably about half of my most powerful legacy move Pokemon are over the 1500 limit for Great League. So it'll let me use, like, some of the ones that I use for Master League is I've got like a Dragon Breath Gyarados that's maxed out, and I have a Body Slam Snorlax that I like to use. These kind of things that you don't really get an opportunity to use. And also they're different. Pokemon are the way that their stats interact at different levels of CP make them more or less powerful depending on the league they're in.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely.
Some really get a shine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you're right, dust is an issue, especially for me, Berto. Having so I just came back, like I said, in May of this year. So I took about 2.5, 3 years off. So dust has been an issue for me the whole time. In fact, I think Jungle is the first cup where I actually was able to have 2 charge moves on everybody from the beginning.
Yeah, that's rough.
It's a struggle, but
Yeah.
that's why they need to keep it at Great League as the primary, the entry level and the primary place for competition, I think. And I imagine it'll stay there.
Yeah, because that's enough dust already.
Oh,
Great
gosh,
League is
yeah.
still, yeah. I think I had like 6 or 7 million when PvP came out, and it is gone. Yeah, completely.
Wow, 6 or
Yeah.
7 million.
I've never had more than 500k.
Yeah, I was stacking it. And
So-
yeah, at least it was valuable.
Looking back at season 1, then let's talk. What were some of your highlights for season 1, guys?
Oh, season 1's been a good year. It's been fun.
It was obviously a good year to both of you, I
Ah,
think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Going to Worlds honestly was like, I think that's gonna be the highlight if anybody was able to. Just being able to like compete.
Did you go?
Yeah, I was able to because I got the I won the LA regional. So like all those tournaments were so like those are highlights for me. Like the LA regional was so fun because I lost one and then I was able to come back and beat the top rank. And then everybody hated me because I forced like 2 more hours of tiebreakers. And
Oh,
then
wow.
And then I did the same thing yesterday. I lost 1 game.
I guess my top moment was either going to compete in the Ultimate Showdown. I got to see a city that I've never been to before. Either that or not losing for 3 months in a row in my weighted tournament.
Yeah, and one of those was coming down to Bakersfield and destroying all of our best players easily.
I actually don't think I waited that one.
You didn't. No, we were all mad at you because you didn't even weigh it.
Yeah.
Wow. Go
Yeah.
and brush your shoulders off.
Yeah. So,
And go ahead. Yeah, Joe. What was your highlight?
yeah, it was just being able to go to Worlds. It said like my town actually started like a GoFundMe to go
Aw.
there. Yeah, and like we got like they raised like over $800 for me, so it's like covered my plane ticket and my hotel. It's like just crazy to me that I was able to have people donate money for me to go play a game. It was like
What an amazing testament to the community that
right, yeah.
Pro is.
It's like like some people I wasn't even close to that just like donated me like $50. It's like that's crazy
Yeah.
to me. Crazy.
I mean that kind of community building is exactly what Pokemon Go is about. I think that's something that Niantic has done right for sure with the way that they've built this game, and it's great that PvP really brings that out. I feel like I have so many more friends now in this community than I had before I got back into the game, and it's so great to have something to go out to do that. It's also such an interesting juxtaposition to be going out to play a video game, right? It's a really different. It's a very new age thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now to be like a hardcore gamer and yet you're actually getting out of the house. You're not just like the stereotype of living in your mom's basement,
Yeah.
which I don't know about you guys, but I've had my days in as an end game video game player with EverQuest and World of Warcraft, and I've spent many lifetimes. Yeah, many
Me too.
lifetimes. Yeah.
Me too.
end game rating. So it's just such a nice. It feels like such a healthy adaptation to that lifestyle.
Yeah,
and
and everybody's been so nice too. Like everybody I've played with, honestly, I haven't met like a terrible person, and I've made some really good friends doing it. PvPs, yeah, never would have happened like just raiding or just catching
definitely.
days,
Yeah, there's a lot more I feel like there's a lot more to talk about. There's just so much more going on when you're PvPing versus raiding. You know, like raiding is nice, but it's very one dimensional.
Yeah, you meet so many different people when you actually go to different tournaments.
Oh yeah, no, and so that's been, I would say, my highlight. It has been just the traveling I've done. So I've been in the LA area for most of the last 10 years or so, but this summer I've been spending with family in Central California, up here in Visalia. And so in order to have tournaments of any kind of decent size, I started traveling, just try a couple tournaments around here. So we've got a really strong competition in Hanford and Lemoore. And then after I started going to those tournaments, I branched out further and went to Bakersfield, met Joey, and then I got the guys from around here to get into the idea of it, and we started traveling. So like in the month of July, which was definitely my favorite cup, was the Jungle Cup. I had tournaments in Sacramento and Bakersfield and all the way down in LA and Ventura, as well as my probably highlight of the month was my showing at the San Jose Jungle Cup, where I came in tied for second place in a 59-player tournament, which was definitely my highlight. And something you were saying, Joey, about how people in different communities will have almost like different little mini metas within the meta for the cup, and the way that they play is different, and the Pokemon they bring, and you really get such a different variety of play style. And communities have been so welcoming. A lot of times people will have tournaments in the park and people bring food and stuff, and it's just, it's wonderful. So that's something to get out and try if you haven't been doing that yet, and you're just going to the same tournament with the same 10 people, and there's that one guy in town that's beating you all, and he's up on the leaderboards and no one else is. We know your story. It's the most common story. And get out, branch out, and get these bigger tournaments going. Also, the bigger a tournament is, the more that it is likely to help your ranking if you care about that.
Yeah, and if you're a high-ranked person just playing in your town over and over again, just playing the same people and always winning, then there's no better way to test your skill than like traveling out and going against a whole different crowd of people that you've never met.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's actually kind of why I came up to Bakersfield that first tournament. I wanted to face you, actually.
Yeah, I know we didn't even get to play. Did so bad in Rainbow. Yeah. That's why I'm glad we actually got to meet up yesterday and finally. Like I wanted to play you and Ace. I have, so it's been a good year.
It sounded like that went really well yesterday. It kind of poetically. So you came in and were surprised right off the bat, right, Joe? And you lost your first match coming in.
Oh yeah. I lost pretty decisively. I would say I was pretty outplayed.
Who was that player?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know.
Wow.
He was pretty low ranked. He had just gotten back into the game. So
I think it was,
like, what was his name? You know?
Teddy B01.
Teddy Boy.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Teddy Boy. Yeah, he was cool though. He was super nice. He was so stoked. He was shaking like so bad, and I was like, man, you did awesome, man. Like I hope you do great for the rest of it. So
he's probably just praying that you don't tank all day.
Yeah. So I had to come back. No, I mean that's it's something that you gotta just like really strive for, is just to not let, like, he wasn't ranked high or anything, and it didn't get me down because you can't expect everybody like ranked a rival to just be super easy.
No,
they could come out of nowhere and they could have been studying regional tournament for like all month, practicing all month, and then came to win. So it's like there's no reason to underestimate a rival or anything.
That's exactly my story with San Jose Cup. I was barely a rival even, and had been putting in a lot of time learning, and especially I was lucky enough to have Berto to beat me day and night for hours on end. Just the better people you can practice against, hot tip, the better you will get very quickly. But yeah, coming in and being able to have a showing like that, and to lose your first match too, as I did. I lost my first match at San Jose. And and then was able to just kind of
to come back.
Exactly. Yep. And go 5-0 out.
And it's like I said, I did the same thing earlier for regionals to get to go to Chicago. I lost like the third round, I think, to just somebody too, and I had to come back all the way to the top bracket too. So it's been a lucky year at least.
Mental fortitude.
Yeah, you really just can't get down on that one loss because you can come back and still get in that first seed. Like that has to be your goal. Berto doesn't have to worry about that because he just doesn't lose, so he's always up there.
You don't lose. I mean, you have that 90%. You have that 90 win percent.
So for players that whether they've done this before or whether it's their first time, let's look at some bullet points of things that we think are like the most important aspects. Berto, I know one that you really like to talk about a lot. It's team building.
Yeah, team building is just so, well, more importantly, line building, I feel like. If you can build a line that even if you lose the lead, you can recover from, you can just set yourself in a spot that
What you're gonna lead with, and then what your safe swap would be if you open with a Pokemon and your opponent's Pokemon comes out and it's one that's just going to eat right through your guy. You have to know what you're going to swap to be safe, right?
exactly, yeah.
Let's talk about you're talking about building lineups. So when we're talking about which Pokemon to use for a cup, it's good to find out what people are considering to be the meta, right?
Yeah.
So how do you guys go about that? Let's start out like to find out what Pokemon people are using the most, like which are the primary ones, sort of the essential ones for a cup. How do you look that up? Where do you go?
PvPoke.
Yeah, PvPoke.
PvPoke, easily the best. Well, maybe not the best, but one of the top ones to.
No, I'd
to
say it's
just
the
judge.
best.
Yeah, I
it
think
really is.
It's pretty.
It's the
pretty
most
much the
together. Yep.
Yeah.
Kakuna does a great job there. The PvPoke is a pretty essential resource, I think, if you want to take this seriously. And so you look and you see how Pokemon will stack up against each other. There's a whole point system there. And another resource I like to use is Pokebattler is another good one. There's also there's a site, I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's called Pokemasters.net. I think maybe PogoMasters.net, and these guys have broken down. Yeah, so I think it's a pair of brothers that have broken down what Pokemon people use for tournament play, and then how successful those teams are in those tournaments. And they've got like a large data on this, like big data.
Oh, I have seen some of those, yeah, for some tournaments.
It's pretty neat, yeah, and you
Very
can see,
interesting.
yeah. So how many people brought Vigoroth and what Vigoroth's win percentage is. For for whatever tournament, and so it's actually it's a neat resource that I like too. And there's a few others. I mean, I think Game Press does some of the best graphics, and I think the infographics can be a great place to start. I would say for people.
Definitely, yeah. Most easily accessible.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So easy to look at.
Yeah, even if they haven't done PvP before, I think people have probably seen graphics before from like upcoming raid encounters or whatever. These poster-looking images that have a great breakdown of just the quick things you need to know about whatever event is coming up or that community day or whatever. Game Press has definitely the nicest and most all around I don't know. They have, I think, the best ones that I've seen for PvP.
Yeah, I'm also a big advocate of this, but Ghost Stadium is like one of the best resources that I use.
Yep, Ghost Stadium, and I would say broader than that, Discord in general. But please talk about Ghost Stadium.
Oh yeah, yeah. With Ghost Stadium, I know there's tons of really really good trainers on there that you could ask questions, post your team, and you can usually within an hour or so you can get somebody to literally kind of review your team and see what you might need help with.
Oh, what a great resource, right? And again, it's the community doing that for each other because people love this, and if they're passionate about it, they'll want to talk your ear off. I know, I can't talk to my girlfriend about that. Well, actually, that's not true, but my girlfriend is kind of an exception because she does like Pokemon. But point being, when you find someone that really loves this, it definitely opens a door, and we all want to talk our ears off about it. So Ghost Stadium is a great resource, and that's another good way to find out what the meta is too. I think is if you don't have the meta in there, they'll tell you pretty fast.
I got rocked. Well, so many people got mad at me for when Kingdom was first announced. I really like Bronzong. So many people immediately got on my case about that.
Is because they didn't think Bronzong was a good choice for
when the first time Kingdom was around.
I thought it was still pretty decent the first time.
Yeah, that's the thing. At the end of it, of it, they decided that it's kind of good, but
at first they were like, no.
Yeah.
That's another that's one of my favorite life lessons is knowing when to take advice and when to kind of do your own thing and champion something you believe in. And that takes some life experiences to figure out for yourself, but that's one of my favorite I don't know parts of life is knowing when to ask your friends for advice and when their advice is what they would do but not necessarily what's best for you.
Yeah, because you don't have to look at top 12 of PvPoke and just make that your team, because you might find something lower that you really like that's kind of a sleeper pick, you know what I mean? You can kind of pick your own off-meta picks to spice it up.
the only way to really surprise people is to do something that obviously no one sees coming.
Yep.
So, in addition to learning the meta, or I guess after learning the meta, then you would want to start with, like Berto said, with line building, right? So you want to figure out which Pokemon are best for you that you like, maybe their play style, right? So as an example, I think Bastiodon versus Probopass, right? In regionals, they're a different style of play, right? They're kind of similar, but Bastiodon's a very slow play kind of a feel to it, and Probo's a little quicker. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah.
So once you get a feel for the ones that you like, actually, how do you guys do that? What do you guys look at for Pokemon you like?
Like, you mean Bastion versus Probopass?
Sure, or like what is in general things like how do you decide what you like like you personally, like what do you Joey and Berto, what do you guys look at, what appeals to you about, like, yeah?
See, I got a good example right here between Bastiodon and Probopass.
Okay.
Is they both feel really slow for me. So like my anti-flyer, because that's usually what they're used for.
Sure.
Like 90% of the time I'm using Raichu, and a lot of people don't like it because it's squishy, and it definitely has its downsides. But I just really like those charge moves coming up quick, really putting the pressure on like shields, baiting with a lower energy charge move. It's just more my style of play.
Yeah, I feel like everybody has an individual style. My style is actually really similar to that, because one of my favorite Pokemon right now is Swampert, and that Hydro Cannon just does so much damage to pretty much anything.
Man, what shield pressure is that? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's why I've been loving that so much.
Yeah, as opposed to like what would be another mud boy that would do the same, like Quagsire. He has like higher energy.
Like Quagsire or Wishcash.
Yeah, they have higher energy, things that'll hit a lot. Not even a lot harder, because Hydro Cannon's really good.
Quagsire's a good example, I'd say.
Yeah,
because it takes more to charge. Yeah,
because you have the Acid Spray, which is really good option, and then you have Earthquake, which is still hitting really hard. So, but Swampert just dishes out those Hydro Cannon insanely fast.
Yeah, same with Raichu and the wild charges. Those.
Yeah.
You always think you can just kind of farm it down until it gets like 3 wild charges off before you can.
In terms of strategy, would you say that you almost always want to lead with something that's a high energy? Sorry, what am I trying to say? Like a fast move that charges energy quickly. Is that typically a better lead than like a high damage fast move, like a Razor Leafer or something?
It depends on the rest of your team. I personally like to, but it really depends on what you have on the back.
Yeah. I agree with that. Depends what you have in the back and what they have on their team. If something's going to spam, not effective charge moves, then it's not going to matter. But it is kind of nice to start off, with a faster pace, kind of make them think if they want to use shields really quickly or not.
Yeah, get those shields burned as quick as you can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we're building a team and looking at which Pokemon people like. Once they've figured out kind of which, an idea of what 6 or 7 or so they like to use. Something I like to do when I'm practicing against people trying to figure out what I want is I'll pick 7 or 8 maybe and send that team to a friend and say, I'm going to use these Pokemon. So I'm not picking just 6, but I'm going to use like 8. And then kind of you can feel around within those which ones you like better a little bit. And you start like narrowing down your picks and see how they do. And I like to have friends. I know you guys do this. You have someone's, you want to know how your Pokemon will do against certain other Pokemon from the meta that are likely to come up. So you say, well, let me run these against, and you ask your friend to play with a certain Pokemon. So for Boulder, you might say like, hey, let me see how these do against, Medicham and Skarmory, and then pick whatever other one you want or whatnot.
Yeah.
How do you guys? What else do you do for team building, Berto? How do you narrow down exactly what you're working with?
Well, I mean, usually you have a certain kind of outline that you need to fill. Like for regionals, for example, Medicham, Skarmory, and Azumarill. Those are like the big 3 meta-defining Pokemon. I know, Joe, you didn't run Medicham in your tournament.
Or Skarmory.
But did you not run Skarmory? Did I miss that?
Yeah, I didn't run Skarmory.
Wow.
Wow, yeah. But at least for my team, it was to get those 3 and then kind of come up with other Pokemon that can counter those 3.
Yeah, that's a very good strategy.
So What do you mean by counter those three? You want to have Pokemon that can counter those three because other people are going to bring them? Those three?
Yeah, because, I mean, they all kind of can beat each other, but you really need something that can beat Medicham, something that can beat Skarmory, and that can beat Azumarill.
So, for example, in another cup, to reinforce that point, for like Jungle Cup, you need to have almost, I think, you need to have Vigoroth, right? I think we can safely say.
I'd safely say, yeah.
Yeah, and so then you also wanted to know exactly what you're bringing as a Vigoroth counter, right? Same thing?
Yeah.
So, talk to me about IVs, because this is a thing that people have asked about, and they want to know how much IVs are important when they're building their team. If they have something with, like perfect IVs or perfect PvP IVs, is that important? Should they lean towards that Pokemon, or what do you guys think?
Oh, man. All right. I think that...
It's a minefield of a question, I know.
Yeah, it is. I think at the end of the day, it takes a lot more like skill than IV. So if you're stuck with a 4,000 rank, well, not Medicham, that's not a good one. Everybody has a decent one. I'd say
Skarmory?
like a 4,000 rank Skarmory, yeah. And you can't find any other Skarmory around you, and you have a tournament that Skarmory is just very good in, then I don't think you don't bring it just because it's ranked 4,000. You definitely bring it, and then eventually try to get a better IV because.
I like that. I like how you said eventually.
Yeah, eventually, because like you could still go to many tournaments with that Skarmory. It's gonna maybe die to one counter sooner than before.
Sure.
Yeah, but
that's exactly what I did. I think with my Lantern over the course of both Rainbow and then we went right into Jungle, and I used it for both. Another one of the better Pokemon, I think, at least so far in Great League, right? Lantern, very useful.
Very good.
So I started off with whatever Chinchou I had and turned into a Lantern, and then as I would acquire other Chinchous with maybe slightly better PvP IVs, which for the viewer who doesn't know, or the listener, you tend to want a lower attack and higher defense and stamina stats. So, like, the general outline for a perfect, quote-unquote, PvP IV would be like a 0-15-15 or a 1-15-15, but it's specific to each Pokemon, and there's some great resources for where you can look that up. Go Stadium is probably the best one. Would you guys agree? Go Stadium for IVs?
Yeah.
IV calculator?
Either their website or their Discord.
Or the Discord, right? Yeah, there's the bot is really nice. You can. But anyway, as I would find ones that were closer to that outline that you want with the low, high, I would build those up. As long as it didn't cost too much dust, because again, dust is such a scarce resource. But then I was able to trade away the lanterns that I had made to friends that were just getting into PvP, or like I gave one to my girlfriend, and then you can find a use for those, and they're not going to waste that way. But then you're slowly improving and getting closer to that perfect one as the month goes on. I think that's a great way to look at it.
Like, for example, the Skarmory I have used for since Boulder is a rank 2800. So
wow. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think mine's pretty bad too. The CP looks good, but it's not that good.
Well, it might be a good thing to point out too here is that you don't necessarily always want to have the PvP ranking as your rankings, because I think when we were working out our Jungle Cup teams, once they released a charm, you and I were talking about Wigglytuff, and you showed me how a Wigglytuff with actually, I think it was 10-5-5, a high attack and just a little bit of D and HP was actually a better suited to, at least as a lead against a Vigoroth, than the ones that are theoretically supposed to be the best ranked PvP IVs.
Yeah, because with 10-5-5, you're able to hit that 15 attack per charm, and you're able to beat Vigoroth in the one shield scenario.
A perfect Vigoroth, nonetheless.
Yes.
Exactly. Right. So it you do want to take with a grain of salt. Is that the phrase? A grain of salt? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. The PvP rankings of IVs in general, because there are certain situations where maybe you want to have some attack on there, especially with fast moves and the amount of damage that a fast move does against other members of the meta.
Yeah, I think in Kingdom,
Breakpoint, that's the term here.
Yeah, Breakpoint. Yeah. So it is kind of it's weird to jumble those two together, but it's usually on hard on harder hitting moves, kind of like that, where it's a little more important. Maybe you're not shooting off the charge as much.
Sure, and
yeah,
you're not going to see, because you're not going to see that kind of a swing in damage from a move that only does a few damage, right? So if a move is hitting for 5 or 6, the difference in IVs is probably not going to swing it very often. Whereas if it does 18 damage or something, then you're more likely to maybe get 18 to 20 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really kind of the attack. You only really want high attack if it's something like that's a confusion user or a razor leaf user or like a charm user.
So IVs matter, but they don't.
Yeah, I don't know. Most of my Worlds team was terrible IVs, honestly.
Your Worlds team? How'd you do at Worlds?
Yeah, I went 2-1, so almost getting to the final 8. Going to a game 3, yeah.
I know, wasn't it versus the Ranger Mimikyu?
Ranger Mimikyu, yeah. He traveled super far for it. He deserved it. I'm glad he got to go.
Yeah.
Cool guy, but he deleted me for some reason, so.
Ooh, harsh.
Ooh, man.
Yeah, I know. I don't know, man.
I mean, that friends list, man, it's ruthless.
That friends list is ruthless. It is.
Yeah.
It is hard.
I don't even think mine's full yet.
Yeah, I'm very conservative with my friends. I have like 90.
I'm at 199 24/7.
Yeah, I know. I see the requests you get just like in Discord chats. It's you're pretty famous, Berto. A gripe that I have is the amount of days it takes to get to Ultra with someone, and or I guess the fact in general that it takes Ultra to be able to remotely battle with a player. I think that is just a little too extreme. I know that they're trying to encourage people to get up out of the house and not just sit around playing, but it feels kind of like a real barrier to me to people accessing PvP that I hopefully they might remove or lessen. I don't think there's a difference or any benefit to going from 7 days to 30 days as the requirement to have to interact with a player before you can play with them remotely. I think you'd get the same benefit from having the requirement be great friends as from Ultra.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's really no need for a 30-day. I don't know.
And it makes it harder to get better, especially when I was first starting out, like what an obstacle to getting to practice with people that are, because, there's no comparison playing with real players versus trainers, the trainer system,
Yeah.
But it does seem like there's some changes coming to that. There's, the data mining crowd, Charles and them have unearthed some things I've heard recently. I'm sure you guys have heard about this, that there may be more remote PvP coming in the near future in games, so we can only hope.
Yeah, and if they do that, I can't imagine them releasing that and not lowering the 30-day.
I agree. I think it would make sense. Yeah.
I wouldn't understand the reason for having that and then having an actual matchmaking system.
100% agree.
Yeah, I'd love it if they just moved it back to just great friend.
7 days you're still putting in that time. There's a commitment involved there.
Yeah.
You just don't have to do it for like a month long.
No,
Yeah.
man, that's just too much.
And especially with the 10 gift limits and the opening limits, and it's just
Sure.
The whole system needs a little revamp.
Yep. Another thing, if we're talking about system revamps, my primary gripe, and then I promise we won't make this into a Niantic bitch fest, but the fact that you can't see what attacks a Pokemon has when you're picking what Pokemon to attack your opponent with blows my mind. How they managed to not have it in game so the only way to know what attacks the Pokemon you're choosing to fight with is if you went in previously and named it something so and that's just ludicrous to me. That's just such oversight, I think, and they do such a good job generally that one drives me real crazy, guys.
Yeah, it's a hassle. You should be able just to maybe hold on it, tells you what moves it has, something like
Definitely.
that.
Just an interface change. It wouldn't even take very much. As a programmer, it's maddening. But they're always improving things, and if they're not improving things, they're certainly dangling new shinies in front of our faces so we don't remember.
Yeah. I think there could be like a better screen in general. Like when you're picking them, they could show you the moves like over them or something. I don't know. I could just see a revamp of the
whole thing
interface.
Yep. It was not designed. It just doesn't feel like it was designed with PvP in mind.
Yeah. I'm sure it's gonna take the time though. So.
Which feels ludicrous to say, but it really doesn't. It doesn't feel like they had PvP in mind when they built that. But
I'd say the community made it a lot more complex than they released it. That's for sure.
Very true. And, to Niantic's eternal credit, the fact that they were so receptive to the community when they did all these changes that they put out a couple months ago, a month and a half maybe, and they changed, when they had changed the switch mechanic on us all of a sudden, and the fact that they heard the community and it quickly, I think fairly quickly, walked back on that and kept the element of switching in as such an important part of the strategy, I think, of what makes PvP exciting.
I was surprised. I was surprised they did that fast.
Yeah. Those were a dark couple days.
Yeah. I think everybody was like, I might stop. It was really bad.
I heard, people that have put a lot of time into this were suddenly questioning all the amount of hours that we've all spent doing this. And I'm nowhere, like I said, you guys have 5 months on me, so I can't imagine.
Yeah,
I really don't. I think the switching is such a mechanic, like a strategic mechanic, and that was it was bad.
So definitely great that they listen, and it proof that they listen, and that's nice.
Yeah.
So what else do you have you guys looked at this the Ghost Stadium cup that's coming out for September? This new meta, this little kind of mini cup.
Yeah,
have
the cliffhanger meta.
Yeah, cliffhanger. That's it. Have you put some time into that, Berto?
Yeah, I've spent a decent, good couple hours on it. I actually don't know if I'll be able to do one, but I do have a team kind of ready for that.
What do you mean be able to do one?
Just because our kind of mini season ended like about a month ago. So I'm still building going back to the 30-day wait time. I'm still building that up with a couple people.
Oh, it's such a pain. I am too. I'm in the process of building it with some of the guys here, mostly local, I think. And yet, it really is difficult to remember if you have any. We all have lives outside of this too, obviously, or at least we try to. I can't say I've had a whole lot of one, but no, we try to, and so that's a lot to ask that every single day you get, and if you're doing a tournament, that's probably at least 15 players to be any decent size, and with the amount of people that love this and they're as passionate, a lot of times it's 20 or more, right? So you got 20 or more guys you have to get to on a daily basis for 30 days. Like, that's such an ask.
Yeah.
And then you're also, because as Joey said, with the 10 gift limit, you're suddenly limiting the amount of advancement you can make in your relationships with anyone that you don't PvP with, and it almost isolates us in that sense. We're like, oh, he's a PvP peer, you can't really count on him for gift.
Yeah, I know. I haven't opened some of my locals gifts in such a long time.
Right, and that I think is honestly, it's a good example of how the current setup is actually counter to what they're trying to build with the game, and what they're usually so good at with building the community.
Yeah. Agreed.
So have you looked at Cliffhanger at all, Joe?
Yeah, I've looked at it. I would pick Defense Deoxys. That's all I know, and that would build my team around that. I'd spend the rest of my points wherever.
I'm just stoked that I can use my Shadow Ball Hypno for something.
Yeah, Hypno's gonna be great. Like I said, I just don't think there's a better pick than Defense Deoxys if you're gonna pick out of the 9 points. I think that's
just because I don't have Skull Bash on my Lapras yet.
Yeah, Thunderbolt Rock Slide.
Which fast move?
Counter.
What counters is?
I think it also gets Confusion.
Yeah. I think it does. Yeah, that's why I was asking.
That's interesting.
I know it gets Zen Headbutt, but obviously we wouldn't consider that.
Oh yeah.
Which brings me to another point we could hit on while we're on this intro to PvP episode, which is moves. And knowing the different moves and really what the actual numbers are to them. Because, again, they're not in-game. And that's, I would say, while I feel that they should be, and we should have access to the data of how much damage this is doing per second, how much energy it is per second, I don't think that that's necessarily as strong a feeling as I do about being able to at least see what attacks are on it when you're using it. But I do think people should familiarize themselves, if you want to improve at the game, familiarize yourself with the numbers when it comes to fast moves and charge moves, and what kind of a delay you're using for your fast move. Is it if it's half a second or a long one like a Confusion is 2 full seconds, and that of course is a huge part of the mechanics of battle, where with the turn-based gameplay, you're only able to break away from that move every so many turns. If it's a Confusion, you'll be stuck in Confusion. You can't use your charge move until it ends. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
This is kind of like where the topic of undertapping comes in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What is undertapping, Berto?
Well, undertapping is, sometimes when you're just trying to tap a charge move, it'll register a fast move before you actually get the charge move off. In some cases, you want to do this because you want to get as much energy as possible, but there are other times where, for example, with Confusion, let's just use Glade as an example since it's really squishy.
Yep.
Let's say it's versus a Skarmory, and if you can't undertap the close combat, let's just say the Skarmory's like within range, you will lose that battle. But if you're able to undertap that close combat,
so undertapping specifically for people is not tapping until it's stopping tapping in the middle. So you're spamming on the screen. It's stopping yourself from doing that and waiting until that charge bar actually fills up. I think I've heard a really good explanation of the way that the moves work is almost like a boomerang effect, right? So what you're sending out an attack, and then the energy for that is coming back to you like a boomerang, right? So for people to just envision when they're tapping, you want to stop and not hit your extra attack because you still have energy coming back to you. And then you get that energy and you can use the charge move, versus if you were to hit the attack before the energy comes back, then you'll go right into another attack. And if it's a long attack like Confusion, then you're stuck there in that Confusion for longer than you needed to be. And you could have used your charge move, 2 or 3 turns ago, turns each being a half a second.
Yeah.
So undertapping, you're right. Especially with a squishy Pokemon, Berto, that's a great example of a time when it's pivotal, because if you can't undertap, then you're not going to be very effective with it, where you could be otherwise.
Yeah, I know in Jungle with Vigoroth, that was a huge one, because with Vigoroth, since it gets its body slams off so fast, you can if you can get another body slam against an opposing Vigoroth, you could potentially win that mirror match.
Yep. And piggybacking, no longer a thing?
I think it is.
I think it is too. I mean, I don't know. At least like self piggybacking, I really think still.
How? Because I can't make it work, but you guys are the masters.
It's all about timing.
Yeah, I think it's really tight. But if you save up 2 charge moves and you're able just to, I don't even think it's just spamming it. I think it kind of comes down to luck. But you do want to be trying to spam that button.
Okay, I was hoping that's what you'd say, because that's what it feels. I've been able to do it too, but it feels like luck more than like a thing that you can repeat.
Yeah, because I would say it's hit it as fast as you can. But I don't know, Berto, you think it's any different?
I actually don't double piggyback that often.
No.
I actually, well, you can see it a lot more with like a Confusion user. But say you get a Confusion off, and then if they hit their charge move in the middle of your animation, then you'll get the full effects of that fast.
Yeah. Yes.
Right, because the update happens when either player makes a move, right?
Yeah.
What either player does.
Yeah.
So say that again.
Sorry. So what, instead of being able to get a fast move during their charge move, you have to kind of know when they're about to use their charge move and be able to hit the fast move like right before they hit their charge.
Okay.
If that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I've seen that happen. I've been able to do that. Sure.
So it's a lot more about time.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mostly go for the double. The double ones is like, I feel like that works.
If it was repeatable,
sure,
I think strategically that makes the most sense to me. Being able to save up 2 and then pound them both out, right, one after the other, and like, kind of almost like create this wall where the other guy isn't able to do anything for a good section of time.
Yeah, just hope their fast move doesn't go through. But it still
Right.
might. I don't know. I've heard like conflicting things, but I really think the double piggyback's still gonna work.
Interesting. I would love to. We should get some comments on this. I hope people will let us know what they've experienced with that.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. What else? Where are we at? Let's see. Resources. I think if people aren't involved in Discord, that's another great thing to get involved in right away. If you're not, if you don't have the Discord app, find out the Discords that are near you. Your community may have 2 or 3 Discords or 4, and those are Go Stadium. I think is a huge one that everyone should be involved in if you're trying to get more serious about your PvP. And what else, guys? Resources.
Reddit. Yeah, you got Reddit.
Yeah,
You got
no, that's a good
Silph
one.
Arena. Yeah,
Yeah.
Silph Arena.
Reddit's
Join that. There's
good.
good conversations on there. A lot of people to talk to.
I would just probably say other battlers, because if you're able just to kind of bounce ideas off of each other, you guys could come up with a really good strategy.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. What do you guys think? You want to wrap it up? Anything we didn't get on yet?
I think we hit it all.
I'm pretty happy with that. You guys got any jokes? Come on.
No.
Have you guys seen that episode of Indigo League? I think the classic Pokemon show where Metapod versus Metapod.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
it's a classic.
man, such a classic. I just watched it again the other day when we were prepping for this. I think it's called Samurai Showdown. But first of all, there's this like psychotic kid who's wielding this like really sharp samurai sword in everyone's face, jumping out of the trees like hi-ya!
Yeah.
And then he and Ash go to throw down, and Ash throws out Metapod, so the kid decides to throw out his Metapod, and they just start hardening back and forth with each other. Oh man, such a class. And then Pikachu and Misty are like suntanning and shit.
Yeah.
I love that show. I grew up on that show. That show is my heart and soul.
I feel like the real life Metapod, first Metapod in PvP is like a Skarmory mirror. It's just
Oh
the
my
worst, most.
I was gonna say
boring.
Bastrodon.
Oh,
my
Bastion would be
gosh.
even more, but I just feel like it's less common, so maybe I ran into Skarmory versus Skarmory more, but Bastion would be even worse, gosh.
I ran into that.
I would just
That's-
switch out and lose priority. I wouldn't care just because I wouldn't want to deal with it.
I'm so glad they increased the timeout limit now.
Yeah, I can't believe
Oh, yeah, I just-
Steven timed out, so
Yeah, I just realized that he timed out with the extra 30 seconds.
yeah, insane. I don't know what they were playing with.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so they increased the timeout time by 30 seconds just recently, and yesterday my buddy Steven, your buddy Steven, our buddy Steven,
Our buddy Steven.
he actually lost a game 3 because of a timeout after they increased it by 30 seconds, which I thought was not even going to happen anymore. 30 seconds is a long time.
I don't think I've ever had a timeout.
Yeah,
I
it's
really don't.
very rare. You need to have like a Lumi mirror and maybe like honestly like a Skarm
Like
mirror.
a Skarm mirror and a Azumarill mirror. Like
Yeah, and he said he didn't have either of those. So I really have no idea how they timed
Maybe
out.
Probo Pass?
They could have had a Probass mirror. Yeah, that's possible because that would be
Or
pretty slow as well.
Bastrodon. I'm just thinking Bastrodon
Oh,
had to be
gosh.
involved. Like a Skarmory against a Bastrodon or something.
Yeah, well, Steven didn't have a Bastion. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Bastion versus Skarmory could take
Because
forever.
those sky attacks, boy, do they not do damage.
I like a
Yeah.
Bastion versus a Probo Pass.
Yeah, that would forever. So,
All right, well, that's the Metapod.
Metapod.
Yep. We're here to harden your PvP skills and only your PvP skills.
That sounds kind of.
I know, right? We should get shirts or
I don't
something.
know. I'm gonna harden your PvP.
Hard body.
Yeah.
All right, I'm DangerGrey. I'm here with Joey and Berto, and we want to see you guys come back here. So let us know what you want us to talk about, and we'll see you again soon next week, right?
Yes.
Yep.
All right,
Peace.
later, guys.
See ya.